Good evening, Mallory. Nope, wrong. Good morning, Mallory.
Good evening, Sam.
Welcome back to Nobody Leaves, the podcast where we just look at manga and comics every day, all week, all the time.
On this episode, I read 140 chapters of Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou, and I think it's the most overrated anime ever. First of all, liberals in it. Second of all, homosexuality. Don't know what all that is about. Some socialist government is taking over. Mutual aid.
Now I'm going to stop you right there, Mallory. Now, I agreed with everything you said, except for the 140 chapters part. You didn't read the whole thing, did you?
No, I didn't read the whole thing. Just kidding. Obviously,
Okay.
I did. It's an amazing manga, and I read it from start to finish. Sam, you told me read 60 chapters, and I got to chapter 30, and I said, I'm finishing this. There's not a shot in hell that I'm not going to get to the end of this and consume all
Mallory,
of it.
I read this 3 years ago. I only reread the first 50 chapters. You know more about this than I do.
Well, I'm the Yokohama... It's crazy that I speak Japanese and I know what these words mean, and I keep missing the
and you
title.
Still can't say it?
Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou.
Kaidashi Kikou.
Kaidashi Kikou. It's because I keep saying Kidashi, and that doesn't mean anything, but Kaidashi is like, I'm like out to buy something. Kikou. There you go.
It's a quiet cafe or coffee shop adventures. I don't know what it actually means. I know Yokohama's a place. That's all I got.
Kokone's Lament. I read the whole thing because it was really good, and I liked it from start to finish, and it was really good.
It's like Dawn to Dawn again.
Yeah, I've taken over. This is like my main kind of thing now. I've kind of like molded my whole personality around this manga. It was a really, really, really good read, and I enjoyed every second of it, and I'd like to hit you super early with a segment about it. One of our segments that we do...
How much did you cry?
Which is called Cry About It.
Hell yeah.
Which you immediately nailed, which segment I was going for. I think the experience of it was just like, you feel the tears building, and you're like, you feel like, I'm supposed to be crying right now, but I'm not crying or whatever, and you don't have that like
sure.
release. And it's just like, it's creeping up on you from like, I think it's definitely before chapter 60 where her, like, the typhoon comes through, right? And and
the cafe gets washed away.
Is destroyed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think around then it was, like, starting to, like, really set in and, like, really build. And by the time I got to the final chapter, the final words, which I don't know. I mean... Now I'm like, I don't know how I can discuss this because now I'm spoiling it for
Refresh
you.
me a little bit here.
Yeah,
You're the
final
words.
Now. The final words of the manga, I think, just really, it was like, they were like, all right, everything's set, ready, and gut punch. Like, it was just really, like, direct to the heart. I don't know, it was just, like, talking about, like, the struggles of, like, humanity and, like, how that life is, like, coming to an end, like, it's like the end of the world, like, humankind is gonna die or whatever, and, like, right as it's, like, coming to the end, it's just, like, may the night of humankind be a time of utmost peace. Snap,
Bars.
Snap.
Mallory, the aliens aren't coming. The animals are leaving. Cut my life to pieces. This manga makes me really, really sad, but also it makes me really, really happy. For those who are not familiar, Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou, which I'm going to continue to mispronounce, or YKK, which is also called YKK. How about that? Kaidashi.
YMS.
Is a manga. It's about a robot who looks like a human and is basically a human most of the time, unless it wants to get really existential for a moment, who runs a cafe, a seaside cafe, which sounds really nice until you realize the world is an ecological disaster and like all of Japan is slowly getting washed away by some unknown catastrophe or many. And Alpha is just there as this immortal, nice lady selling coffee to humans who are like not the last generations of humans that will ever exist, but maybe like the fifth or sixth to the last. Like the humanity's kind of going away. There's vague references to wars and climate change and people not having enough food and people going away and a lot of cities that are buried underwater, and it's a little melancholy, I'm not gonna lie. But then the manga is a delightful jaunt where you're walking around taking pictures of stuff, or you're diving in the ocean, or you're catching bugs by the seaside, and it's just the most gentle, kind, like thoughtful manga I've ever read, and I love it so much, and I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
It's crazy to cry 5 minutes into a podcast. That's crazy.
And my shitty description of this manga.
No, I already cried because I was just repeating the line, and then as you were rounding the corner under the description, it started to hit. So like 7 minutes in, and 2 tears, 2 droplets coming from my eyes. That's a lot. That's pretty heavy. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this episode. I think I'm gonna really struggle, but I'm gonna do my best.
Mallory, I have a crying story relating to this manga.
Mm-hmm.
When I first read this 3 or so years ago, 3.5 maybe, I made an effort to savor it because I enjoyed the experience so much. And like it's a very episodic manga. Almost every chapter has nothing to do with the chapter before or after it. They all kind of slowly weave together into like a little narrative that lasts over years or so. Like, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I tried to really like hold back on finishing it. And it happened to be that I was in New York City when I had like 5 or 6 chapters left. And at some point I found myself on the New York City subway with nothing to do, getting internet every couple of stops. And I was like, I've got like 2 chapters left. Let me pull up Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou. And I sat on that subway with like a single tear streak like going down my face, being like, does anyone see me crying right now? Because I was so touched by the ending. It was not the only time I've cried to this manga, but it was the most memorable for me for sure, and probably the most memorable finishing of a manga experience I've ever had. This is a very special series. I'm glad you liked it so much.
Yeah, man. All right, we gotta talk about anything else. I just felt myself.
Do you like the art?
Yeah, it's cool, I guess. Let's talk about...
Do you like grass and like the wind in the ocean? Because it's really pretty.
I'm trying to like think of like things. I was like, maybe we could talk about the osprey, but that's gonna make me cry. So then I was like, maybe we could talk about the queer themes, but I feel like that's probably gonna make me cry too. So I'm just kind of...
You don't like a character coming into their own in identity as a robot to a human, but also as like a asexual woman to a lesbian, basically. Like that gets you going. That makes you sad.
Listen, all right. Welcome to... Okay, I think that we should do debater theater. This is where I decide the sexualities of characters based on my own agenda and what I kind of want selfishly.
Not based on the text at all. Just
no,
what you want. I understand.
Well, what I do is I kind of take pieces from the text that I enjoyed and I kind of just cherry pick them, and I kind of
you just mash them together.
Yeah, it's kind of like how straight people make queer people go into certain boxes. I now do that to fictional characters to just kind of like reenact my own trauma. So I think that to me, they're lesbians. That's what I like. You can be like, oh, it's like asexuality, like they're in an asexual relationship that's just like kind of a romantic one. That's probably true. It doesn't seem like the robots are...
I wasn't talking about Alpha. I was talking about Kokone. How do you say her name? Help me out here. Kokone. Because she starts out having like no opinion on romance at all, right? Until she delivers her first kiss-based message to Alpha. This manga is very normal most of the time. And then there's just a scene of her, like, when in one of the many chapters that cuts back to like what she's up to, which is usually delivering packages, and she finds herself delivering another message and thinking, wow, I couldn't do that with Alpha anymore. I know her too well now. And I also think about these things more often now. And what are those things she's thinking about? Is it romance? Is it love? Is it something? Is it sisterhood? That's the straight, boring answer. But expound.
They try. Okay, here's the problem. Okay,
they do try.
Okay, because I'm gonna devolve into like a crying mess unless I start being more critical of this manga.
We're 11 minutes into this podcast.
I can't take it, man. It's too much. It's honestly probably one of your worst pitches in terms of being like just a thing that we can discuss. You know what I mean? Like, not in terms of like quality of the work. It's through the roof. Like I don't think the tier. Okay, so normally we do like ranking and tiers list at like the end of this podcast. I don't think people are going to be in a lot of suspense for where this is going in the ranking. It's not an issue of quality.
I'm certainly not. Yeah.
I think that it's more of an issue of like, being able to talk about it as like a topic. That's tough. So Here's something easy. I think this manga, the ravages of queerphobia, the damage that it has done to art, are felt. There's a hole in the center here where it's like, on one hand, I think it's like an extremely well written kind of like romance between these two, in that it's like, they're kind of like childlike robots discovering humanity in a way. Like it's a very like innocent, like, the initial kiss doesn't mean anything, and then she catches feelings on the other end, and like it's like it has the fell first, fell harder trope, which is like
it does.
Like by time Kokone like falls, she's like obsessed basically. But like at the beginning it's just kind of like, I don't know, like what? Like,
well, as Alpha is very excited to meet one of her own kind for the first time.
Definitely. I mean, and like huge queer themes. I think like the discussion of like, like, oh, I've never met any other robots. Meanwhile, being from the city, being like, I've met other robots, but like I'm always acting like a human and like trying to like put up my human mask. Is extremely like, that is like the two versions of the queer experience. Basically, it's like the experience of being in a rural area and not having your nearly as many expectations or restrictions on you, versus like living in the city, needing to perform more in a way, but like also like having more community, meeting more other people like you, like the, I guess pros and cons, if you want to put it that way. Really, really beautiful. And then, yeah, it's like, it's so romantic. And then I think it hits a point. Sorry, just to clarify, have you read the whole thing or not? Like, how far?
Oh, yeah, years ago.
Oh, okay. You only reread.
Yeah, I finished it I only reread up to chapter 50,
right?
And I did read the final chapter again just for myself, and I was not expecting to need it today. But in the final chapter I'm talking about is the one with the mysterious girl who is like flying around and is maybe looking for Alpha's cafe, and seems to be maybe the child of the two smaller kids who hang out with Alpha. Like, that's the implication, right?
Yeah.
I did not read the chapter. I did not read the last Alpha chapter again, but I've read the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good on that. I'm not like spoiling stuff for you or anything. Yeah, I
Not
feel
at
like
all.
here's the hole where I feel like a level of queerphobia probably damaged the series. Is there's like their kind of romance is like heating up and increase, and it's like there's themes. There's like the desperation of like, she's like my little sister line of like, don't worry, guys. This isn't gay. They're like sisters. Sibling coded. One of the most obnoxious fucking terms I've ever heard. Like, they're trying, but like you can't hide it. Like, they're being so obvious. They're trying on swimsuits together and getting embarrassed and shit like that, and like sleeping together. And it's like, okay, this is like really this wholesome like romance is building up. I feel like it reaches a certain point and it just kind of has to put her on the back burner. And it's not that they do nothing like story-wise, like that's like we have the wandering around and like traveling arc basically with Alpha and like that kind of thing, and we're still bringing Kokone in, like we're seeing her like devastation at like seeing the house destroyed and like the old lady doctor giving her like a knowing look, like just there's a smile that just is like, these bitches gay. It's like really funny.
The uncle does that as well, like early on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really funny.
I think if memory serves, I don't remember her Kokone having like much of a finale, and I think that is because the manga is not necessarily focused on their romance. It's just one of many side stories, right? It's the most prominent side story, but in my mind, it kind of lets that peter out because this manga never wants to have like a conclusion. In some ways, it feels like it feels like it's just, it ebbs and flows, and having any definitive dramatic changes, I guess it does have that in the sense of the cafe getting destroyed and then rebuilt, but it doesn't feel like that kind of manga to me. Not in the manga had like a gay panic situation, but just in like we're not going to touch that in general, or we're not going to go any further with that in general, right? Like, this is a yearning manga, not a climaxing manga. That sounds weirder than I want it to be, but you get what I'm saying,
right? So this is my thing. Yeah, like this is what I was trying to say. I 100% agree in that like they're really not trying to do like hard turns and drama and like there is drama. There's like this like love triangle basically situation that happens at a certain point, but it's like it like the underlying message of the manga is like, time marches on. To me, I rarely do this because I rarely like isolate lines, but you came up with a category which is the line, the better a pig a fascist, for the line
better a pig than a fascist, Pocoroso.
The line that unlocks the meaning of the story.
Yes.
Mine felt like I think it's the old man who says it. And I'm not quoting it directly, unfortunately, because I'm not good at my job of being a podcaster. But he says that, like, basically, like, he's referring to, like, the reconstruction of the cafe that, like, Alpha's working on. And he goes, like, yeah, like, I think it's good that you did that. But there's no need to rush it. Like, you should take your time. You should do it correctly. And he's like, in life, like, you only really get to do like one or two things. And it's like, oh no, I'm crying again. I hate this. It's like,
I'm shocked. I can have this is the most tears in an episode of the podcast ever.
It's brutal. I think it's like, you can't like that is really like this underlying message like throughout. It's like you can't like trying to force things, being so like centered on like material gain, or like trying to like chase a specific thing, trying to chase the osprey for the rest of your life, or like
or the answers to what the Alpha series' origin, right, which is a thing that Kokone becomes like interested in that never really gets a proper resolution, right?
Yeah, or chasing the affection of your creator that like Alpha was concerned with. Chasing a specific romance that's kind of like inaccessible to you for a great many reasons, like in the case of like Takahiro or whatever. And like it's, and I think it's like, it's very kind to people who are chasing those things. Like, this is not a like,
this is not a like cynical
thing. I'm condemning you for like, it's like, this is a human thing to do, right? Is to like chase things. But at the end of the day, like, it's just kind of a ride. You just kind of got to vibe out, basically, is kind of the thing. So yeah, like getting back to the point I was making is like, I don't think that I'm like, Oh, I needed them to like be super explicit about their like I like that they're robots and they don't like need to put a human name on things and stuff like that, right?
Mm.
But it's like I think that the um so yeah, I don't need them to be like, okay, we're having a wedding ceremony or something. Like this doesn't need to be like Steven
Sure.
Universe, right? Um it's more that like I think there's a level she Kokone is kind of like an underlying thing throughout, and she ends
Mm.
up like the last chapter, like at least where I read it, is like it ends with like Alpha coming home to her and she's like at home or whatever, and that feels like the
Mm.
things that's like shifted and changed about her world, because it's like it's kind of like going from loneliness to like meeting people is like her arc basically, if there is one. Like
Alphas.
yeah, and it starts with like the
Mm.
old man and it just starts like growing and growing from there, and then she finally has someone that's like she describes it to Takahiro and it's really beautiful when she's talking about him and Maki is like you guys are on the same ship, like you're being carried together,
Yes.
like
I
that
was
ship of
hoping
life.
you were going to
Yeah,
bring this up.
yeah,
She's talking to Maki when she's like, calling me, like basically like saying like, don't worry about it. I'm not going to date Takahiro, even if he
yeah.
ages up to be like appropriate for me to date or whatever. I'm frozen in amber. I'm like the water god that is introduced in that one chapter. It's very freaky. Uh, you two are like, yeah, you're like leaves floating on a river or something. I don't know. This manga makes me want to think more poetically, but
mm,
you're on the same stream. You're on the same journey through life, the same timeline. I'm not, because of my immortality. Like I'm somehow disconnected from all that, and she's telling her that, and it makes her feel better and less awkward with her. But it's the underlying sadness to all that is awful. Like it's like the
mm,
immaterial nature of life and time and nature being a big like theme of this manga. Like it is, those are the moments that like hit me like a sledgehammer, right? You and I are both younger people, relatively speaking. We got a lot of life in us still, but like one day I'm gonna get old, and then I'm probably gonna die at that point, most likely, if unless something very dramatically changes in the course of human existence. And before we recorded tonight, I was happened to be back in my old neighborhood that I grew up in, and like that's a place that has dramatically changed landscape wise. Like I used to live in like this area that was really wooded, and it had a bunch of trees and places that I spent a lot of time as a child, and all those have been like clear cut away. I've talked about this in a video I
mm,
did about Studio Ghibli, but that the idea of everything being immaterial, even something as seemingly unmoving as like rocks and sand and forest, like that hits me really
Mount Fuji.
hard. And then tying it, what's up, Mount Fuji, or even like the concept of a warhead when they're using it as fireworks or what have you, like all these ideas of like nothing matters, and that therefore the individual moments, the memories, the single photographs, like all that has even more meaning behind it because it's immaterial, right? Like it's the exact opposite of nihilism. It's all going to go away someday, so smell the roses while they're here, right? The I pulled up the like directive that Alpha's owner, who's never shown, gives to her in the very beginning of the manga. Um, and in like the letter that he leaves her, I suggest you put me out of your mind, walk out, and see what's around you. I suppose for you, there's hardly any difference between a decade and a day, but I think someday there will be things that you miss. And that it's so early on, but it's reinforced over and over and over again with like even events that we reading this manga, sometimes the characters forget about it or they become hazy with time. And anytime the manga does a alpha's gonna go around taking photographs chapter, I just get this big stupid grin where I'm like, yeah, you should take a picture of this random seaside scenic landscape because it's gonna look different tomorrow and it won't necessarily be there. And the ways that like the roads between these familiar locations change and the locations themselves change, and you can really feel this underlying like sadness and change throughout the whole manga, but it never gets into despair. And it remains beautiful and hopeful. I think this manga is a unbelievable stone cold classic. I think everyone should read it. I'm so excited that we're talking about it.
I
Yeah, I
I
can't keep
wanna.
ending my long monologues of being like, I'm happy you like this, but I'm so
I
happy you liked it and
it's good.
responded to it.
I wanna like make my amazing, really like salient, accurate point about homophobia, and I'm definitely gonna get to it at
Yes.
some point. But I want like what you're saying just reminded me so much of where I used to live in Noto and like the earthquake, and I mean
Mm.
just this absolutely happens. Yeah, like the town you grew up in changing, the forest you grew up in, like going. I have the exact same experience of like we had like a whole kind of wooded nature trail that like the line of
Mm.
houses just kept closer and closer to now it's just like I don't know, you're like walking through someone's backyard when you're trying to go on a jog or something like
And the
um
more insane version of that is like the neighborhood that Mal grew up in didn't exist when I first lived in the town that we both grew up
mm,
in. Like we have like six years of difference or so between when you moved there and I moved there.
yeah.
And then for like my parents, like none of that existed. And so it's just like things just change in ways that you can't see in a day to day, but then when you look back, like everything's different, and it's a very human experience. But I've never seen it captured better than this
Hmm.
manga,
No, absolutely,
this
but then there's
homophobic,
also
anti-lesbian manga.
we'll get to it. But I think the earthquake that happened in like Noto or whatever, like I talked about it a
Mhm.
lot in our Skip and Lifer episode. It's like the destruction of the landscape. There's one specific landmark called Mitsukijima, which is just like this big, weird, tall island stone thing, like
Mhm.
in the water that like we would go to all the time. Huge sightseeing spot, but like I would just like after work I would just like go there and like take a stroll, like whatever. Like I was there constantly, and like that it went from being like kind of uh you know box shaped to being like triangle
Stonehenge-y.
shaped like after
Sure.
the earthquake. But the funniest story about that was there was like this big kind of like rock next to it, like it wasn't just like a single huge outcropping, like there was just like this one huge rock next to Mitsukijima, and there
Mhm.
was a previous earthquake, and during that earthquake that rock was like completely submerged, or like it fell apart.
Mhm.
And my friend worked in like the tourism department, and they kept getting calls from like old people being like, are they gonna put the rock back? What happened to the rock?
Aw.
It's just like the rock has got like it's a natural thing, and the rock fell into the water because of an earthquake. We're not gonna put the rock. We can't put the rock back. That's
See,
not how
10
it
years
works.
ago, I would have just made fun of these people, and now I kind of get it, as I like see running trails and neighborhoods and
But I
woods
think
change. I'm like,
the old people in this manga like greatly outclass the old people in real life that my like friend was interacting with, because the old people in this manga are like, yeah, the first time you've like lost a place that you've known for a while, like like nodding
mm-hmm,
serenely, or like just like accepting it, or being like, yeah, this is gonna change, that's gonna change, like like when I die you should move the coffee chain to like this gas station or whatever, like it's
mm-hmm.
I think that it's yeah, like you just kind of gotta accept the waves of time, all that kind of stuff. All that. Can I make my amazing point about homophobia?
Please, because I'm gonna, I'm gonna fight you on it only because I love this manga so much. Even though I'm sure you're gonna
I
make
do
a
too.
great point that I
I'm
can't refute.
saying my argument is not that the author is homophobic. Definitely, that
Okay,
is definitely not what I'm saying. Um,
sure.
my argument is that in a world without homophobia, this would be that much better. There's a amount of pressure that is on the manga to not be explicitly gay that if it was released, it would be just like, and it wouldn't have to be like, like they don't need to start like quoting social justice terms. That's not what I want out of this. I want it to be what it
Sure.
is for the most part. I think there's a certain point towards the latter half where like Kokone appearances start to like drop off pretty sharply. And my argument for that is that we're like progressing through this kind of like wholesome relationship. That was all the fucking points I was making earlier. I love to be concise and make my points in a concise order where you can remember them all. They're progressing. And then it's kind of like, if this went any further in this direction, it would be too much like we're depicting like this domestic life kind of situation with these people. Or there's almost this kind of like, it's not this, but there's almost this kind of like thing when she moves back, like the third character, like who becomes kind of like the third in this like love triangle. I forget her name. But she.
Oh, the other Alpha series or the other robot.
Yeah, she's the other robot, and she's like, whoa, I love like kissing you. Let's keep kissing. And like Kokone is like, no. And then like, and that's kind of like the triangle thing or whatever. And it's like, which is like hard proving that like this is love between like these two, right? Because it's like she's like, okay, this isn't just like something I do with everyone. And then like it almost feels like that's like her relationship that she's in, that she's trying to leave to go be with Alpha, but it's not that, because they're not in any kind of like formalized relationship with those kind of rules, and she's not trapped there. It just kind of like, it peters out in a way where it's like, I'm not trying to like think that all the chapters in the back half of this manga need to be about her. I think that I love all the chapters. I love all the different characters that we're exploring. I love all of that. It feels like there's no longer room to write anything about her until she like moves in at that point, in a way that I think if you took off the pressure gauge of like, hey, these, like, you're like raising the suspicion meter.
They can just be lesbian roommates and still have like chapter by chapter episodic adventures, basically. Like they're holding off on letting her move in till the finale because they don't want it to become the lesbian robot anime or manga.
Yeah, but, or even if they didn't move in until the end, like if they like they would go on dates or like, these are what these Kokone chapters would be, and it's like there's a sharp decline in where we're able to feature, because it's like that's all that's really left to explore with her, and we can't, there's certain chapters it feels like we can't do because it's like going a little too far. And I think the we're sisters line is very telling, because it's like, okay, we gotta put some sort of ruse on this to kind of like, no, the robots have to kiss to communicate messages, and they're just blushing for no reason. Don't worry, my pen slipped.
I think it's very explicit, and like reading it a second time, I thought it was even more explicit. Like I'm like, I think it's really clear that at least she loves Alpha. Like Alpha may not reciprocate in the romantic way that she wants, at least at first, but I think it's meant to be kind of a one-sided pining sort of relationship, because that fits more with like the modus operandi, like the vibe of YKK. And I think that I could see the argument being that the author wouldn't want to tie Alpha down to any character, like male or female, because it like gets away from like the isolationism and like the weird mix of freedom and loneliness that is conveyed by this manga, right? Like I think it's harder to do that if Alpha has started a family. I don't know what's in the author's heart, I don't know what would happen if she was a he, or if this manga came out in 2025 instead of 2006. Like I just don't know.
Yeah.
Or 2000. It's 20 years old. 2026 or 2006. Numbers are hard.
No, definitely. I'm definitely arguing what I'm definitely arguing for is like a very slight shift. It's not like a
Hmm.
overriding of like where it is
Just
and like
the
how
manga
things
being able
are.
to call a spade, basically, like being able to say, yeah, this is love.
Yeah, a little more, or like even I kind of interpreted Alpha's almost like declining interest in Kokone as like the
Hmm.
buffer that's gonna keep this from becoming too much, because at the beginning Alpha is like very much like also in love with Kokone, and like it starts to
Hmm.
kind of
She goes and
like
visits her,
tamp down a little bit after,
and
yeah,
then she
like
stays an
after she
extra
visits her
day.
and they're staying to each other, and they're, it's like it's so much and it's incredibly gay, and then it's kind of like, what else are we gonna do? That could also just be like the thing, there's kind of like a writing trip of like, you write a romance and you check off all the like milestones or whatever, and then it's like,
Hmm.
I guess we gotta do like other stuff now, and
I
it's
think
like the
it's
B
more that,
stars,
yeah. Like there's
like
nothing left interesting to do when you're out of the like honeymoon period, right? Like domestic
mm,
life is hard. Although this manga seems like a manga that'd be really good at conveying domestic life, so I see where you're coming from. I
yeah,
just
like that's the
wasn't.
thing. I feel like this is so much better written. Like when I think of like B stars, it's like B stars is like a classic example of an anime. That's something we've covered in like 3 other episodes
Will
already.
Haru and Legoshi hold hands after their 18th near death
Yeah,
experience? Maybe, you
and
know.
it's like season 1 has a lot of like milestones for them, and then it's like, okay, well, once the next milestone, that's the end of the story, so we got to just kind of like not focus on them and talk about like a bunch of other people. I think this mangaka is capable of doing the more domestic thing. I think like he's got it in him. He's got that dog in him, you know. He
Hmm.
knows how to write a thing, and like, you know, and yeah, it feels like getting too domestic type of stuff. It's like, oh, well, we can't, you know, like,
I can't get around it. Mallory, you know this about me. I love unrequited love characters, and I think it's additive in the story just because I think no one is satisfied in this story, right? Like Alpha wants to be human and is watching humans get older and be less relevant to her. Kokone loves Alpha but never quite gets there with her, at least in what
but
we
she
see. Like I think it
does at the
she
end.
does.
That's why it undermines all of it. Is it feels like Alpha's ending is she finds a home with Kokone and she finds a relationship, and like all she's talking about is like how she like didn't have a problem with like being alone, and then she's like, and then I discovered like, you know, loneliness, like there's parts of my brains that don't activate unless I like interact with other
Hmm.
people and that kind of stuff. And she found someone that's
Hmm.
on her same ship, just like that's the reason why we got a tangent off of this point, is because we were talking about the ship thing. It's hugely important.
Right.
Like you know, Takahiro and girl Maki
Mika,
are
or what's her name? Maki.
Maki.
Yeah.
They're on the same ship, and she finally found someone that's on the ship with her that she can like ride out, and like maybe they will die eventually, you know, but like that's
It's
that's her
Matsuki.
community, like minded, whatever. They're bridging the like the robots have
Hmm.
become more human by creating society together with each other and choosing to be with each other. um I don't know. It's like it is kind of the even though yes, it's like no one's arc really culminates. It's like it kind of does, and kind of it is set up that way. And there's just like this unspoken gap of time where like because I feel like even the pining love stuff gets dropped.
Hmm.
Like all of it kind of gets dropped for like a chunk, because it's like if we go any further at this point, it's like, you know, we just got to kind of play,
I wouldn't
you know.
trade those last 40 chapters for having them seal the deal like earlier on though. Like that's just where I come down on it.
No, I
I
agree. I think there's more they could have done in the meantime that just would have felt too, you know, hot and heavy.
I
I
mean again,
guess.
I didn't reread the whole series, but I do remember being like she falls to the wayside pretty hard for a while in a way that is sad and
Hmm.
being like what's happening to her? I miss her. I love Alpha going on a like journey of self-discovery.
Yes.
My cafe is blown away in the wind and I'm going to go visit every minor character we've ever met and go see new weird locations we've never seen, and all the like in terms of light sci-fi, nothing's better than this series. Like just peppering in little weird moments and things. And I wanted to hear from you, like what were some of your favorite, it's in a manga of detours, like what were some of your favorite detours, like little one-off stops, like we're gonna go watch fireworks that are actually missiles, or we're gonna go look at a giant sunflower. Like what are some of the things that you really like, little one or two chapter arcs that you enjoyed?
Yeah, Giant Sunflower was a big winner for me. I really enjoyed the Giant Sunflower. That was a really good part of it because it's like, oh man, the sunflower's too big and it's really scary. And then it falls over. It's like, wow,
I think
that
the
was
environment here is weird for some
that was
reason.
a really good episode of Kaidashi. I think that was good. I like, this is super early, but I love the watermelon one. It's hilarious. Like where
Oh, with the little ribbons.
I have experienced actually this exact thing. Not like trying to sell my. Well, no, I have actually, because it's like I've like living in Noto. Like there was a lot of like old people giving you fruit and veggies and just being like, all right, what what do I do with this one? I'm like I'm a gamer nerd. Like how am I gonna like make nutritious food? And like getting it and then trying to give it to someone like in my case it's like
In the manga,
two English teachers.
Alpha
Yeah.
is Alpha is given like a dozen watermelons as one person robot to eat. She can eat watermelon, but she's still just like, this is too much for me to eat. And so she tries to sell them in her store by like decorating them with little ribbons. And my favorite part of this is that she gets two rare visitors to her cafe and she's like, do you want watermelons? And they're like, oh, the old man already gave us more than we can eat. Like he's been all around town. There's no
She doesn't
escaping this
even-
amazing watermelon crop.
What's beautiful is she doesn't even offer them. They just see the watermelons with ribbons on it and start laughing.
And they laugh at her.
and then that's how they enter that conversation of like, yeah, we already got some, like because they immediately understand what she's trying to do and she's just beaming with this huge smile next to these like melons. Yeah, I think
she's like on the ground like tying the last few to, and she's like looks up bashfully like, oh no.
I've absolutely had the experience of like trying to pawn off, like I got too many like tomatoes and I like, what am I gonna do with this, and being rejected. And yeah, just like being like going on a walk and being approached by my friend's mom and her just like handing me like a bunch of persimmons and being like, all right, like I guess I'm gonna eat persimmon every day this week. Really, really good. I like that part a lot. Oh man, other episodes that are really good. I adore this part, which is okay, so there's like bearded like haunted man chasing the osprey with his flying fish.
With his flying fish.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Is it when he wanders into the tunnel with the lights?
No, not that one. It's when
Okay.
he meets Maki and she has like a natural talent for like using the flying fish as like a boomerang or something. And it's this moment of like Maki has been shown as almost like a singularly defined character in terms of like what she's chasing and like her desire, which is like for Takahiro basically, who is
She
like,
wants her big brother to notice her, basically. Yeah, like her childhood crush. Not a big brother, but like she is like she reminds me of like, yeah, like a friend's sibling who follows around the older kids wanting attention, right?
Yeah, and like he's constantly like too mature for her, and it's like, and it's so well written. It's like at the beginning, like it's kind of petty kid stuff where he's kind of just blowing her off. He's like, you're a kid, you're a nerd. But even then, it keeps threading in these like actual realistic like ages and stages stuff of like, yeah, he is always a step ahead of her. He's always doing like the next thing.
He's getting
that
a job
she's gonna
first,
do.
or
yeah, or like even back then, it's like her introduction scene is like she throws out like a bag of like sea roaches, and she's like, we got to throw them out together, and she's like, you taught me how to do this, and it's like it wasn't too cool for you yesterday, but it is now, and it's like, but it is because he's actually growing. He's not just like being an asshole.
Right. It's just time. It all comes
You
back to
know,
time.
she's constantly chasing maturity. She's constantly chasing this like kind of romance and like that kind of appreciation. And then she meets this guy, and he is like this, grizzled old motherfucker who keeps coming back because he's like kind of chasing childhood and is like Moby Dick chasing the osprey or whatever. Who's like this?
He's like a hobo monk who actually really cares about like winning at pachinko or something. I don't know, like he's like a weird contradiction of a character where he's like everything's immaterial, man, and nothing matters. But I really got to see this thing that I saw when I was 10, and it's endearing.
Yeah, it is like, and like the osprey feels very much like this, like, metaphor for childhood or whatever. Like only children see it, and then as soon as you try to look for it, you can't find it anymore.
It's
Beautiful
very
writing.
Polar Express coded of like you can't hear the bell and see Santa anymore. It's like
God
you're
damn
not
it!
visited. You're not. I'm trying to
I
make a
hate
serious point,
this.
Mallory. I don't know why you're interrupting me. Uh, you can't see this naked mermaid lady
Oh
who eats
man,
fish
yeah,
raw.
yeah. He goes like, "Meh." I think that, yeah. So like, he's kind of doing that, and then like they have this like bonding, like these characters that have never interacted like fix each other type of thing. I
A
love
little
stuff
bit,
like
yeah.
that where it's like, and not fully because they don't end up like going together because and like being
Hmm.
a master apprentice thing because she ends up doing her own thing, but it's all connected to that because it's like this really beautiful moment of like him like discovering a natural aptitude and potential in her and like a skill in her and like seeing her for who she is, like seeing her personality. She's kind of like, rough around the edges, like, like aggressive, like keen eye perception type of person.
Hmm.
And like,
Really good at focusing in on something as well, though.
yeah. And he like sees that in her and appreciates that and validates that in a way that like despite her kind of having like albeit small, like seemingly very loving community and stuff, it's like no one necessarily seems to have like said that out loud or have like appreciated that about her. And like the realization on her face is really good. I hate
Well,
this.
I mentioned this in I mentioned this in my review of this manga on my YouTube channel from 3 years ago. But like these two characters, like her and Takahiro, are like the only children you pretty much ever meet throughout the majority of the manga, and it
Mhm.
seems like almost every adult is like not just an adult but an older person, right? Like the only person we meet that's like middle aged is ISA or what bearded
Yeah,
hobo
ISA.
man,
Yeah,
and he
the whole
feels the need
time
to
this guy
wander.
ISA, yeah. Sorry,
Like he
continue.
feels the need to like wander and like seek opportunity elsewhere, right? And he does like odd jobs throughout like this wider community. But so these two kids are like left in like a world with no children, and that feels very intentional in a manga that's like quietly about the end of the world. And it's like all it's like so sad because just like these kids will never know what the world used to be like, and then the people who are raising them, the manga kind of plays with time a little bit because they all seem to have memories of the old world, but also it seems like the world ended a long time ago. So it
Mm,
kind of cheats there, which is totally fine because it makes for really interesting conversations and thoughts. But
mm.
like old man gas station attendee and the doctor lady being like these older people who are near the end of their lives, and they have all this perspective but no ability to like act on it anymore. Like they can't pilot the plane that they have Alpha send off for
Mm.
one last ride or what have you. I think it's just this really cool contrast. This manga rips. It is unbelievably well thought out in inconsequential arcs that all like fit into like a wider feeling in a way that I think is like really really impressive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, no, I think it's it's so good. I think that like kind of growth in a way of like appreciation and that kind of stuff. It's like I think it's just such a natural thing of like no matter what community you're raised in, like stepping outside of it and like being seen in like a new light, I think is just such a important part of like growing up, I think. Like and having your perspective, it doesn't matter what your perspective is, there's not like necessarily a right one. It's just about like, you know, having it
It's about
shifted, being
widening it.
seen through different eyes, and then choosing your own path, which is what she ultimately does, and she like goes to live in the city. But like I think that similarly, it's like you said the point of like they will the sadness of like they'll never know a world with like a bunch of kids, they'll never know a world of like, you know, school and video games or whatever. But then like
And
at the
working
same time,
roads, like forget about video games, like
yeah.
like modern comforts, right? Like they're always in the background. There's always seemingly like little bits of concern about like food, even though it seems like there's been like a mass extinction event, and now like what food is left is plenty for who's left over. But there's just this
Right.
idea that like so many people have died off that like, to get really technical for a second, like generational collapse is going to happen at some point. Like there's not enough people to repopulate the earth, even if the people who are left are not in any danger that we see, right? Like this is a peaceful manga. This isn't like it's an apocalyptic manga with the least amount of apocalypse in it.
Yeah, no, but it's like you kind of feel there's an extent where you feel sad for them for not having or like modern AC or whatever, right? But then there's like also
Right.
an extent where you're like, oh man, what an idyllic life that, you know, you just kind of like hang out and like skip stones and like
1000%.
you know, talk to, it's like
I want to go smell grass. I want to go like fishing. I want to get as far away from TikTok or spreadsheets or Microsoft Excel as I can possibly get, and just take the computer that I'm talking to you in right now and just fucking chuck it in the trash.
Absolutely. It's this thing of like there's not a perfect life, which is like something that I think is like so hard. I think that's like the silver bullet that like a lot of people I interact with on a day-to-day basis I wish they could like hear, is just like there's just so much like stress and panic of like, well, this needs to go right and this needs to go right and this needs to go right. And it's like it's not like you cannot think about the world that way, because you will suck all joy out of it. Any joy you feel like at these like successes of like keeping your perfect life on the rails is going to be so fleeting, because it's going to be immediately consumed by anxiety of you chasing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And like it's
I don't know what you're talking about, Mallory. I've perfected it. I've figured it out perfectly. I've got the golden path. All of my permutation, everything is within my model, and I will perfectly foresee every catastrophe, and everything is in my control.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like, to me, I feel like the way I experience that a lot on a daily basis is like through kind of like a queer lens of like just the amount of like discussions, the way people talk about dating and relationships a lot of times. Not you're fine. But like there's a lot of people who just kind of like talk about things in like very absolute terms sometimes, of like men like this and don't like this, and women like this and don't like this, and you need to, and it's just all kind of like points on a graph. If you are this attractive and you make this salary, then you should be with someone who's this attractive and make this salary. Like that kind of like mindset, attitudes towards the world, and all the shades of gray underneath it. I feel like I just, you know, especially living in Japan, like you just bump into it so often, and it's just like, I don't know, it's such a sad way to spend your limited time on this earth.
It's gonna be really awkward when I pitch you the ultimate guide to looks maxing next week. That's gonna be it's gonna be a tough follow up to YKK.
You're a sub-8 male.
Mallory, I know we've been going for a little bit here. Something we don't talk about that much is when we do manga and comics is like art itself, right? Like in terms of like the squiggly lines that make the pictures that we interpret and go, yay, that's pretty. This is a manga with a lot of imagery, a lot of repeated images and imagery, but also a lot of like one note, like one chapter asides. It's a manga full of asides, detours, other synonyms for those terms. did anything in particular jump out to you? I already asked you this, like, plot wise, but in terms of, like, does this make you want to go to the beach? Does this make you want to go to the mountains? Does it make you want to fly a biplane or swim in the ocean? You know, like, what do you take away from this in terms of, like, the nature and the beauty of all that?
Yeah, I want to walk through fields. I want to walk by the ocean. I think I don't really want to swim because I'm not a robot that can move with the grace of an Olympic
The
swimmer.
grace of a fish.
Yeah, but no, like, absolutely, it made me like I have it so often, especially since moving here. I think like the amount of like moved I get by nature. It's like I think when I moved to college, it's like, all right, nature interactions are at an all-time low, and then when I moved to Noto, it was like really great. Like you could all the time, like anywhere you go, can you just be like in uncharted territory where you could be mauled by a boar at any minute. And like that was great. But then like now, I think where I live now, it's like unless I go out of my way, I'm not gonna like see trees for a little bit, you know. And I think that's like literally like this previous weekend I went to like a there was like an exhibition going on at like a science museum that I went to with a friend, and like we were like outside and there's like these like big trees, and like I just immediately always find myself like catching my breath and like that kind of stuff level where I'm just like, man, this is good. I need to get out there. So that's kind of been my thing. I'm like, I gotta go on a walk in a place where there's not cars. Like, I need to just, yeah, it's good. It's good. All the nature
Since I read, yeah, since I read this manga, I think about it every spring. Like in America, we just had the time change, and it's being daylight later, and it's getting warmer, and I'm so thrilled. I hate the 3 months of cold. I don't understand the mentality of I want to stay inside and I want to be cozy by the fire. I like a good fire. I like being cozy. I'm gonna probably play Pokepedia, whatever the hell that game is called, Pokopia, after this.
Pokopia.
But when the breeze is going and the pollen is decimating all of our noses and throats, I want to be outside. Like I yearn for the fields and the tall grasses and the winds and the waves or what have you.
Yeah.
And like, this is such a sensory manga to me. I feel like I can hear ocean waves and I read it. Like, I think it's just so vividly conveyed through that repetition. And yeah, I like it a lot. And then it's got weird one-off visuals like Alpha transforming into a plane and flying around, and is that real or is it in her head? I don't know. Like, is she's merging with
turning into a plane?
Is she mind melding with the technology that kind of is related to her series? It's never going to tell you the answer because the answers don't matter. It's all about the vibes. It's all about the feeling of experiencing something beautiful and graceful and imperfect at the same time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm going to take a break
really
real quick to smoke some more weed, and we can keep going on this.
I was going to say I really resonate with what you're saying about hearing the manga in a way that, like, a lot of times when I read manga for this podcast, like, for me, you know, like, focus can be a difficulty, and I will often put on, like, my, like, lo-fi music or whatever, because it's, like, not even a way of, like, you know, like helping me focus, even as much as it is like a reminder. Like whenever I hear the lo-fi music, I remember that I'm supposed to be reading a manga. So like if I get a text notification or something that like pulls me out of it, I like get back in. This was like I didn't want music because I wanted to like just be in the world, and yeah, like you can hear the wind and stuff. I absolutely resonate with that. Like I think it's good. Now we have a sponsorship that we need to address on this podcast, which is the Gush Zone, sponsored by Gushers. Unleash the unstoppable flavor inside. Now we have been talking about a lot of really great things. We have been gushing a lot in this episode, but we've
mostly been saying this manga's mid like the entire podcast. Let's really say how we feel now.
Yeah.
Let's find some diamonds in the rough here and pick out a couple of things, like a couple of good points about this manga that we clearly hate.
the one moment of relief that I had when I was reading Yokohama. Something about Yokohama makes me want to
British
say.
Mallory is back.
Something about Yokohama wants me to say Yokohama. Like, it just really, like, makes...
Kaidashi Kikou.
Yeah.
A quiet
Pronouns.
cafe.
Oh, I think that,
Oh, God. Oh, you're doing the Starfield guy. I didn't even realize.
I think it's a more general... I think Starfield Guys probably has a little bit of a deeper voice. I think it's just, like, a generalized
he's British, I think. And yeah.
He
British
has a
bigot.
lot of, like, birds of a feather to him. Like, there's a lot of, like, just British cynics on YouTube that I think I just have, like, that internal, like, actually, all this peace and love, somebody died somewhere else. I think that, the thing, okay, writing Queer Room is, I was talking about, like, the bad side of it, where I was like, I want more, and I'm never satisfied with the good part of it. Specifically when she has they kissed and then they like went away or whatever, but then she's like the next night and then she has a dream and they're like children and then they kiss again and then she wakes up like blushing. I was like, come on, dude, come on.
While it doesn't fall into the trope of anime and manga that I hate of like the ultimate form of romance is like two people hold hands, right? Like it's not that, but it also is the least sexualized romance like I've ever seen. Like the ratio is so far in the other direction compared to like it's a term that we often bring up on this podcast, like derogatorily, is fan service. This manga is like so far from even needing that term to exist.
Yeah.
Like everyone's dressed appropriately, everyone acts appropriately, and they can still dance around and deal with things like attraction without it being like this, I don't know, like cross between a porn magazine and a Call of Duty game. Like it's just
it's exploitative.
It's more mature in a way that I think is really like this is so much more romantic to me than I fell on a big pair of boobs or whatever.
I slipped on a banana peel. I think, yeah, I would argue that, like, I think there are, like, parts of this, like, there's naked women in this manga, and, like, you know, there's the osprey, of course, which is, like, another thing, but, like,
Sure.
I think that, like, there's parts that dance with it, but it's just, I think it's, like, appropriate with the placing of power and it not feeling exploitative in a way where it's, like, and, like, that's the point we're trying to make the whole time. It's like, it's not, the problem isn't sexuality. The problem isn't drawing sexy characters and, like, that kind of stuff. The problem is, like, you know, like, this attitude.
It's respecting you. It's respect, right?
Yeah. This respects its characters. They're never, like, put in, like, these, like, awful situations that they don't want to be in. And, like, they're. It's not this, like, attitude of, like. It's, like. Most of this stuff, I've been playing Persona. This is a great Persona is like the exact like median of like every anime. Like it just it has it all. It hits all the tropes, and it's like
it's at times respectful and well done, and at other times, oh, I fell in a pair of boobs and I got women. Yeah,
it's this attitude of like. Where it feels like it's written by the guy from the Always Sunny episode where he's always like looking through the like locker room through a hole or whatever. And like that kind of attitude towards the world as opposed to like I don't know, it's like the other thing is like she's like very well like there are like moments where it's like you know, oh, like her and Takahiro are gonna take a bath together, or like she needs to get changed in this context or whatever. She's like very aware of like other people's sexuality and like that kind of stuff, you know.
I think because that chapter is one of the chapters I did read for this discussion, and like I think it's handled totally fine while also acknowledging that like he is attracted to her.
Yeah,
she did this without thinking and is somewhat embarrassed by it, or like, you know, has been made uncomfortable, but because the two characters are so well realized, and it doesn't feel the need to be like, here's a shot of Alpha's butt or whatever, it feels true to the characters. It works, and it doesn't at all take me out of it in like the way that scenes in things I love, like Call of the Night or Dawn to Dawn or what have you, super take me out, and I think work to the story and characters' detriment.
Yeah, or like or Evangelion. It's like, you know, they're like
I can't even talk about Evangelion.
That's like the perfect thing though. Is like we're like washing and like that's a thing that deals about sexuality and like arguably needs like sexual like elements to it or whatever to like tell the story that they're trying to tell. But it's like, oh, she's like washing dishes and like the camera is like next to her foot, like
is
in
up
this,
her
like, weird
labia.
Yeah,
angle. No, I know.
Yeah, like directly.
Evangelion tries to have its cake and eat it too. All right, like Evangelion's like we're gonna seriously like discuss the sexuality and needs of our characters or what have you, and like get super psychologically into all that. But also, isn't Masato hot? Like aren't these plug suits really tight?
Yeah, and like the like this one, there's specifically I was thinking about like the there's like a swimsuit episode or like chapter where like
it has a beach episode. It is true.
Yeah, like the two robots go to the beach and they're like hanging out, and it was like Kokone picked out the swimsuits for the both of them or whatever, and it's like, you know, they're drawing their characters in sexy swimsuits, whatever. I think it's just like, okay, first of all, it doesn't feel like just like stupid bullshit where it's like
they're not in a G-string for no reason.
No. Right. Like they're reasonable swimsuits, but they're still like putting them in swimsuits. But then it's also just like they're both displaying appropriate levels of shyness and embarrassment about it, but they're still doing it. But this is also between like two robots that are in this kind of like pseudo romantic relationship, so it feels completely fine and normal. It's not like Mineta, like the My Hero Academia beach episode, and Mineta picked out all the girls' beach suits and they don't want to wear it. But it's the only thing we have to wear. I guess we'll wear it. And he's going, and all the other boys are like slapping on the back, like, Mineta, you're so awesome. You're so good at like taking advantage of women at every opportunity.
I like how much Mineta has come up in a podcast where we have probably said the name Mineta more than My Hero Academia at this point, but it's a perfect modern example of like, just fucking eject this into the sun, and this story becomes like 10% better.
I like Mineta in My Hero Academia because it's so bad and it's so concentrated that it perfectly helps me articulate things that I might have struggled that like I think sharper authors have written in ways that are more distilled and dispersed and harder to directly critique. I think Mineta is just like, here's the exact problem with everything concentrated into one person that's super easy to like articulate why it's a problem, you know? I kind of like it in that way.
As opposed to Dawn to Dawn, where every 20 chapters you get a page where you're like, I'm uncomfortable with how that character is being drawn right now, and then it goes back to being like the best manga ever, but then every once in a while.
Yeah, and the characters are like, you know, walking lines as opposed to just, you know, like My Hero Academia is full light and dark. Like Midoriya does not mess with it. Bakugo does not mess with that stuff.
No, they're all polite young gentlemen, and then Mineta's there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's the thing. So I think this is an example of a manga where it's like, I don't know, like I wouldn't hate a robot sex
manga
scene
can
in
be
this.
better.
Like
you know
this
what I mean?
Is
yeah, like you said you could have a sex scene in this and it'd be fine. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like you could have a robot sex scene in this, and it wouldn't be like super like Officer Alpha's coming in. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like fucking like super exploitative, like highly charged.
Show me some images with your tongue, Alpha or Coco.
Yeah, like are we like, oh my god, we're gonna get caught because we're in the middle of like a public situation or something. It would be like they're hanging out and they would be like, do you want to try this? And it would be like a really casual, low stakes, and it would probably be like, I don't know. I'm gonna get on like a.
I have a weird throwaway for this, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the gold standard to me
Yes.
of like treating characters like appropriately in terms of sex and age and femininity and masculinity and what have you. But it is a spectrum, right? And then like the far other end is like isekai trash, basically, like just like the worst of the worst. Like
Right.
I was resurrected in the world where everyone's got quadruple D's and is in love with me for some reason. And also slavery a lot of times, which is an even more strange thing.
Gotta have slavery.
And then you have like a true neutral, which is like a Naruto, which like does good and bad and is like, Naruto's maybe leaning towards the bad, but like,
yeah, Naruto's like, I think it's like it's bad, but not the worst. But then like it's also just like they don't know how to write like strong female characters a lot of time. I feel like
100%.
I think Dandadan's a good example of like, or
Dandadan
even
I would put in the
Persona.
mostly good category.
Like,
Persona I'd put in the good category.
Persona is maybe like a good middle one where it's like it has strong female characters, but they all need to be romanceable and like they need to have scenes where we see them naked. Otherwise, you're not going to buy the game. Like, I think that it's kind of like a trying to have its cake and eat it too type of thing on a lighter level that Evangelion is like trying to have like this huge feast and eat it too. Like, yeah, I don't know, but
so
tangent.
It can even be done in like this is getting really manga metatextual now.
No, let's go for it.
About YKK. Like in the like shonen battle series genre, right? Where by and large women are weak and men need to save them, and then we need to all want to have sex with every female character, but they can never do anything important. And also there's going to be no resolution or meaningful progression in people's relationships, right? Like that's the normal, that's like the baseline that happens in almost every series. And Dandadan I think is an exception because Dandadan actually chooses to have progress in its romance, at least kind of, right? And it like is it feels like it's going to have payoff in a way that like Midoriya is never going to get with Gravity Girl, because I don't know why. Actually, why not? Because they set it up for 340 chapters or whatever. We're just going to keep pining, looking at each other forever.
Deku? Wait a second. Hold on.
There's a weird thing. I don't know how. Someday you and I are going to have a Tokyo Ghoul conversation, a manga that I tried to make you read in college and that you didn't enjoy that process because it's long and generic at times.
No, because it's scary. That's why.
It's also scary. It's a little spooky.
That's why. That's the reason why.
Fucking like 400 chapters into that series, there is a sex scene between the main two characters, and it's really well done, and it's like really artistically done, and it comes out of nowhere. And if you Google Tokyo Ghoul, basically like the autofill is like, that came out of nowhere, but it does it like it what I only bring this up to be like, it doesn't have to, it can be meaningful and thematically relevant, story relevant, what have you. It doesn't have to be like I don't want people to take away from this conversation that you and I are having is that like characters should never be attracted to one another or want to have sex, or sex should not be depicted in manga or what have you. We're not going to the movies and being like, I don't know why they had to have a sex scene in this movie. I closed my eyes the whole time. I was so afraid. You know, like that's not. This is a sex positive podcast. Yeah. It's Mineta bought cheerleading outfits for all of the 14-year-old characters in our high school superhero show. Like that's what we don't like.
It's Toradora, and they're like, we need to do a maid. Oh, come on, guys, let's team up and make them do a maid cafe. Yeah, yes. No, it's like. I think that it's well done. It's well handled. It's like I think that there's a weird, and it seems to be like prevalent in the imagination of a lot of like writers from Japan, especially in the way that like sex is often like depicted. Of like sex equals like this like really kind of like misogynistic, narrow like view of like how we're kind of like approaching this, and it's like. That's crazy. That's a crazy concept.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
It's so narrow.
You know how that like, Tokyo Ghoul chapter ends? With Kaneki's head in Toka's lap. And it's like so progressive weirdly. Like it's just hard. It's so out of place in that genre of manga storytelling. It stands out like a sore thumb to me. Complimentary is basically what I'm getting
Yeah.
at.
No, absolutely. No, I think it's really well done. It's like yeah, no, this is Sam, I didn't expect this to be like we're hurtling closer and closer to be just pitching you like actual porn so that we can talk about it. Because I'm just like I feel like I
I don't
do
know
feel
if that's
passionate
what we
about
need.
this
I don't know if
stuff.
we need to do that necessarily.
We don't,
Um,
Sam. We definitely don't have to, and I feel like it's definitely not necessary.
there are
That's all.
many. There are many topics we can get to between now and then where that doesn't have to be. I feel like we need a Patreon to put that needs to be behind a paywall or something. Like I don't know if that's in the mood for love. I could pitch you at any time. I meant to do it for the Valentine's Day episode, and then what did I pitch instead? I don't even remember. It was not romantic at all.
It was annoying. It was annoyingly not Valentine's centric. It was like it
Oh,
felt
what was it?
anti Valentine's.
It did because I forgot. Whoops.
Yeah. Well, Sam, I think this was good. You know what I think would make it better though? Like would really improve
A
it and
ranking
ratchet
of
up the
1 through
stakes?
10. Or no, not
No.
1 through 10, of S through F.
Ha! I've transmitted the disease to you. No, it would be if there were pirates in it. I think that an episode where
Ah,
some pirates showed up in this, tell me that wouldn't fucking slap. Tell me that would not be fucking awesome. Like whatever concept they would be.
they'd probably blow. That's probably what happened to Mount Fuji. Is some pirates took some of those aircraft carriers with missiles on them, and fired off. Got a little too excited. Were thinking about how they wanted to be remembered, how they wanted to leave their mark on the world, and then they blew a hole in Mount Fuji.
Sam,
And
I
Alpha
just
likes
realized
how it looks now anyway.
this is a like the worst fear of Blackbeard was realized in this manga canonically. Is that he was
Being
forgotten.
True.
This is the thing, like Alpha definitely forgot Blackbeard, and like even like Kokone is, I guess, is more of the reader between of them. I think Kokone is gonna see Blackbeard like Treasure at Sea or whatever and flip past to the next one. I don't think that Blackbeard is ever gonna register in anyone's mind ever again. And that's kind of beautiful. I think this is
That's
like
awesome.
I think we've solved the Blackbeard
We've cracked the
thing.
code.
We needed this to tell us that Blackbeard's whole worldview was bullshit.
Mallory, I had a realization when I went to look at
Uh-huh.
what episode I pitched you on Valentine's Day, which is 28 years later, by the way, which is really funny. I've pitched you 3 lesbian things this year. You've pitched me no lesbian things this entire podcast.
He's an ally.
So, maybe I am the ally at the end of the day. We've done Madoka, Pluribus, and now Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou. I'm batting 1,000 is all I'm saying. We're not keeping score at home, but we're definitely keeping score at home.
No, we are. That's a good idea. We should just have like a lesbian score.
Lesbian counter. What was the short? We get lesbians. What's the
Yeah.
short? I don't remember what the context was.
We understand. We understand.
We understand
what
lesbians.
you've been through. I think that that's good. I think that it's all
On
good.
that note,
I think that a Fortnite skin of the Osprey would go pretty hard.
it's true. In the
I
game,
like
Ready to
a
Eat for
feral
Everyone,
naked woman that has huge
feral
teeth.
naked women.
I think that's cool.
I like the side thing where she's just like falling asleep and ants crawl over her and then she eats a fish,
And then
It's good.
she wakes up and she's like, yeah, like
Yeah.
it's cool. I like it.
One of the little side 4-panel joke things is her finding a potato sack and trying to wear it and being like, nah, this sucks.
That's really funny. This is cool, man. All right, I'm ready to rate it from A to F to S. Sam, this is gonna be the shortest tiers section ever. This is my trap queen. She be in the kitchen cooking pies with my baby. Yeah. Okay, this is where it is. All right. I get high
Mallory,
with my baby.
Is this the thing I've pitched you that you've liked the most?
I have to remember everything, but almost undoubtedly yes. I
I'll
don't.
throw some winners by you. I looked up last week the other S tier I had that I couldn't
Okay.
remember. It was Summer Hikaru died again. Ally of the year here. That also anime is incredible. Um, is it better than Pluribus? Is it better than
Yes.
Dawn to Dawn?
Yes.
Is it better than Akane Banashi, my beloved?
Yes.
Better than Bugle Call, which you really
Yes.
enjoyed 2 weeks ago? Uh, those are some of the big ones.
I
Is it
think
better
that
than
was all of
Porco
them.
Rosso?
Yes.
Oof. Big words.
I think Akane Banashi is the closest to giving it a run for its money because I like Akane Banashi.
Oh, here's a fun one. Is it better than Deltarune's chapters 3 and 4?
Yes, I love this. This is amazing. Easily.
Oh my god! I thought that
I
thought that would get you.
I can appreciate art.
I know. Listen. I would hesitate more between pitting two bad bitches against each other. You know, like those are two really good series. You know.
I have this side to me that's like, God, I love a poem. Oh, I love a painting. You know what I mean?
It does. When I got to like, I think it's like somewhere in the 30s, and it's like, here's a short essay interlude. I'm like, Mallory's gonna eat this shit up. As am I. You and I both have English degrees. This rules.
Yeah, man. There is a part of me that's like, oh man, things fall apart. There's a part of me that's like, this is the real stuff. You don't understand.
The Falconeer and the Falcon, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad you liked it so much. This is some weeks I get I get hints at what you're thinking about. This week, I didn't know anything until we hit record, and I'm very happy. I'm very pleased.
It was because I wanted to have the reveal that I read the entire thing on the recorded in the podcast.
Psychopath, just awful. This is also a short, for people who don't know, this is a short capture week for us. We only had like 4 days between episode recordings. You're crazy, is all I'm gonna say.
I like it. It's good. I couldn't
This
stop.
is just telling me I can pitch you like 150 chapter series now, just for like within a week between.
There you go. Well, I will say it's helped by like a lot of chapters
being really
don't have
good.
dialogue. Well, being really
yes,
good
that's
as well,
true.
but a lot of chapters are like beautiful next, beautiful next, beautiful next. Like I don't need to like squint at like the little like pencil marks.
Yeah,
in order
Hunter
to
x
fully
Hunter
appreciate it.
might be a little bit more
Yeah.
difficult, where like every conceivable centimeter of a panel has text in it. Like, it might be a little trickier.
Yeah, no, definitely, but good thing, awesome. I am probably gonna try and buy it, like to have it. I think
It's
really
not
good.
that hard. I have all of it back there behind that Lego tree.
Is it 4 volumes?
It is 5 deluxe volumes, and
5
the
deluxe
first
volumes.
50 chapters. I think the first 2 deluxe volumes are 52 chapters. Is what I realized this week, because I actually went and looked at them. And even though I still read most of it on my phone because I'm a jackass, but I do own all of it, and I was able to flip through it and be like, oh. There's a lot of extra art too, like really good like character portraits and stuff that is I hope made it into the version you read.
I'm pretty sure it did. It had like there were like cuts between each volume, and it had all these like colored like extra stuff, and it was like, oh man, oh.
There's also just like 6 or 7 like colored chapters throughout the manga that I think are really really pretty.
Murders me, slays me, and what's crazy is like they don't feel like it had to
Much
be this
different.
chapter at all.
Yeah.
Like it's truly batting 1,000 the whole way. There truly is not like, okay, we're with this guy again. I never felt that once during this whole thing. Like I truly.
Yeah, we have
like,
140 perfect chapters. Let's just make 7 of them color like at random.
Yeah, like truly at random. It's like, and like there were chapters where it's like, okay, there's been a kind of similar chapter to this before, like with this character. For some reason, this is the one that's colored, and it's like, all right, cool. It's like
This time we have to color Kokone like driving around town and driving into those cool ass giant trees and that big empty road that's got such little traffic on it that there's like a stand that's selling barley tea. It's just perfect. It's so well done. There's so much nerd world building shit that we didn't even get into, but like it's all there if you want it, in terms of the plane circling the globe that can never come down, and the fish that have evolved to wear sunglasses. It's a perfect manga, you know?
Sam, there's another category
What's
that
up?
we've neglected quite a bit this year because we introduced all these other categories, but this was the OG original category, which is Diva of the Evening. Um,
Oh,
I think it's the girl who I didn't even remember her name, who's like the
the
third
painter.
wheel of the love triangle, and she's like the final boss of the manga because the
Hmm.
final confrontation is somebody showing up at the coffee shop and saying, "I don't like your coffee very much. You could do
And
better."
Alpha being horrible at reading a room and being like, why was that person kind of mean to me?
Yeah,
She's
and like
interesting.
just yeah, and like Coconut just being like, I can't stand up for myself, and then Alpha just talking to her anyway, completely like earning her namesake Alpha, and like completely like boxing
Disarming
out
the final
the
boss with like no
competition.
effort. Yeah.
Yeah, she just is like, damn, you guys really do have chemistry. Like I really was not built for this. I'm just gonna go home. And then
I
she
was not
becomes a
familiar
friend.
with your game, Alpha.
Yeah, she absolutely Steven Universe, like, heals and brings peace to all the final bosses or whatever, and then they're having brunch the next episode. Man.
Hmm.
But that's a diva. I think that I like that her character is in it cuz she feels so unique,
Different. Hmm.
but also like she's like the character from our world almost in a way. Like there's
But not to the point where there's actual conflict, right? Like
yeah.
the closest this ever gets to conflict is like a couple of harsh words that are mostly not understood by the other party. Like it's easy
Yeah.
breezy all the way through at the end of the
She
world.
she doesn't ever do it, but yeah, like it is like every character feels unique, every voice feels unique, and I like her specifically of like bringing in like that exact thing we were talking about of like what this the opposite of what this manga is trying to teach you of like you should raise your standards and like chase fame and fortune and all this kind of stuff. Um,
Mallory, I'd love to talk to you about this manga for another hour, and maybe we will do that when we stop recording. But the time codes are so fucked up at this point.
all
We've
right.
already ranked. I gotta know, what am I watching? What am I reading? What am I experiencing for the first time? Are you gonna tell me to go drink a can of Coke, or am I gonna have to go to the movie theater, or what am I doing? What's up?
Sam, we referenced earlier we're kind of in a like period where we're having to get a lot of these done ahead of time so that we can
That's true.
live life. So we have like a little bit of a shorter period, so I've decided to pitch you 3 seasons of a show that I would like you to watch in between now and the next episode. And that show is a YouTube original cartoon known as Big Top Burger. Are you familiar with this, Sam, at all?
Not at all.
Well, it's cool. It's about burgers. It's kind of exactly like Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou, because it's about like they're running a burger truck. It's like the American version, created by animator Worthy Kids, who even though I don't think you've watched Big Top Burger, undoubtedly I or someone in our circle has shown you a Worthy Kids like animation. He did one about Palpatine, like how Palpatine survived the end of episode 6 to episode
I have
7.
seen that. I think I know what you're
Um,
talking about.
he did a Brockhampton one that you must have seen. It's like the boogie like animated thing that was like really cool, where they're in an ambulance like driving down the road. If not, like
Maybe.
you gotta get in this. A lot of really really cool fan animatics of like a lot of different stuff. And
Is
yeah,
every
made
season an episode? We're saying 3 seasons in 3 days. What's going on here?
yeah each it's probably about 30 minutes total. I think it's
Oh,
like
okay.
I
It's
was
like a
trying to
Smiling Friends season. I see.
yeah, like less. I was very much like a joking, trying to scare you situation. Um, but yeah, no, I think it'll be cool, and I'm excited for some like Hot Wheels and some better burgers or whatever it is they say. I forget. Uh, Yeah.
Big time burger. Big shot,
Big
big
top.
shot, you're a big shot. Big top burger. Shit.
Damn it.
All right. Next time. I think that does it for this week.
Yeah. Until then, I hope that the night of your night is one of utmost peace.
That's all.